All right, Stoots, we're less than 4 weeks away from free agency. This is the first part of many of the sign or decline series during the locker room. I'm Landry Locker and Cody Stoots, free agency collaboration. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. We're going to start off with a guy we're familiar with around here, Derrick Henry. Should the Texans sign Derrick Henry? Now, he's been a Texans killer at a historic level for a long, long time. 4 straight 200-yard, 2-touchdown games against the Texans. No other player in NFL history has that many games in their entire career. None of them. And he did it against the Texans 4 straight times in a row. Now, we know about the running back position. We know about all this talk about system fit. We know Derrick Henry in running back years is A-chip, but he also might just be a freak of nature. What are the main thoughts that cross your mind when it comes to the Texans potentially bringing in one of the biggest Texans killers of all time?
You know how they make those all-decade teams? Well, he's all Texans killer first team, without a doubt. I mean, he's just been a pain in the side of this organization for years, and he's one of the more unique and impressive running backs in all of football. And I say that because I went through and I started to look through rushing leaders all time, how many times they had been the carries leader in the NFL. And I was like, surely Emmitt Smith led in carries a bunch of times because he's one of the greatest rushers of all time. Emmitt Smith did it 3 times in his entire career, led in rushes. Derrick Henry has led in rushing attempts 4 times already in his career, and he's not really shown any signs of slowing down. When it comes to the Texans, they've got to get better at running the football. Just bringing back Devin Singletary and putting Dameon Pierce with him, that's not good enough. They've got to do something at the running back position. If it is bringing Singletary back, then you got to bring somebody in with him. They've got to run the football better, take some pressure off of CJ Stroud and the passing offense. And how many times did we watch this team go out there and not be able to run the football? And it put a lot of added extra pressure on the defense, getting them right back out there. The biggest one that jumps out to me was Atlanta, where it was like 3 and out, boom, the defense is right back out there. 3 and out, boom, the defense is right back out there. And at the end of the game, they were gassed, and Desmond Ridder looked like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, slicing and dicing, cutting them up, getting them in field goal range for the winner in Atlanta. So they've got to run the football better. That's why we're talking about a free agent running back. And there's no free agent that has better stats that's available than Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and I don't know, there used to be a notion that, if a guy, and this was past regimes, but if a guy had a lot of success against a team, then he was going to end up being a Texan
Oh,
killer,
my God.
the Lamar Miller type of joint and all that. Now,
Chris Polk, Bill O'Brien talked about it in Hard Knocks. He was like, yeah, Chris Polk crushed us last year. That was like the only game Chris Polk had that was good the previous year before O'Brien and company brought him in.
Yeah, and Caserio, like, you can go all the way back to his last game in New England. I think in 2019, Derrick Henry had over 180 yards against the Patriots in 2019 when Tennessee went to the AFC Championship game. And then you sprinkle in that 4-game stretch that we talked about to start this off. Caserio was here as well. I don't think that matters. But as far as Derrick Henry, let's just lay out the case for signing Derrick Henry. It is the locker room Cody Stoots collab. Texans free agent frenzy. We're talking about starting with Derrick Henry. We'll do a different player each week. We're going to release it on our channels. This is extra stuff. We're still going to do the stuff we do, but this is extra. So be sure to subscribe, like, right along. We got you covered. Exciting offseason. So what's the case for signing Derrick Henry?
I mean, he's the best statistical free agent running back available. You go look and you sort the free agent running backs available by stats, and Derrick Henry is the best one. If you combine his stats over the past few seasons, he's one of the best running backs in all of football. And I understand the conversation about him turning 30 and getting a little bit older. There have been no signs of Derrick Henry falling off, slowing down.
He's the most durable one on the list.
Absolutely. Like everybody slows down after, over 5 seasons in the National Football League at the running back spot. Slowing down, sure, and the pace that he was at early on in his career, of course he was going to slow down a little bit. He's still really effective. They've started throwing the ball to him the past couple of seasons in Tennessee. He's been a little bit better as a receiving back. Not that I bring him in to throw him the football. I bring him in to turn around and hand him the ball. Here's something that really sticks out to me about Derrick Henry. His coach, when he had some incredible success, was Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith runs the outside zone scheme, so it's a zone type of offense, and Arthur Smith does it as good as anybody else, teaches it as good as anybody else. Henry had a ton of success with it, so I trust him to fit into this offense, fit into the opportunities. Some of the issues that you saw Dameon Pierce deal with, Derrick Henry doesn't have those issues. Good vision, attacks where he needs to attack within the offense. I feel like from a scheme fit, from a physicality fit, and just from a change the way the run game operates fit, no more 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Oh, what do we do? Are we going to give the ball to Andrew Beck? Are they going to try to throw the ball on some, 2 motions and a play action? It's pretty easy. You give it to Derrick Henry and you hope that he gets the yard or 2 that you need.
Yeah, the other thing about it is, I think some of these question marks make him perhaps the best value. I think Jacob, Saquon, some of the other guys that I'm sure we'll get into as this series goes on, I think they're going to demand more money. I think Derrick Henry, the spot rack right now is a little weird. I think it has like 6.5, 7 million for 1 year. I could see it being more than that. But I could see him being the best value. I could also see a scenario where they like him the most. So I think there's a lot of things that he has in his favor when it comes to perhaps signing Derrick Henry.
I just think about, and this is sort of combining D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio and the way that they approach football. I think about New England. For so many years, they had one guy that was sort of a feature guy that was maybe that 1st and 2nd down guy or could catch the ball really well. And then they had like a hammer guy. Like they felt like for a while New England was going with 2 running backs that you could trust and you could approach that way. And I wonder if
they always had someone who could catch too. I mean, they always did a good job of complimenting their guys.
Yeah, and I wonder because there's not a Christian McCaffrey maybe available, or you get priced out of that because that guy wants to stick around where he is or go somewhere else. Maybe Nick Caserio could sell D'Amico Ryans on, hey, maybe we go with a couple of backs, and Henry's one of those guys, and he's kind of our hammer that just you look up and, oh, Derrick Henry's on the Texans, and he's got 17 touchdowns at the end of the season. Maybe he doesn't have 1,000 rushing yards, but he was sort of that guy that just got it into the end zone for him. Like, I could totally see that.
The case against Derrick Henry, I think, is, for me, it comes down to, because if the Texans think he's a system fit, and you've laid out the case for the system fit, and I've heard guys say it as well. For me, the case against is just that the market is pretty appealing, and there's a lot of other intriguing names that perhaps can do a lot more things, a little more versatility. You can do a lot of stuff with them, like the Saquons, the Jacobs. I don't know how they feel about Austin Eckler and how he would fit in some of these other guys. So the case against would be there might just be better options for Derrick Henry, but it's going to be hard for me, given what the price is going to be, given the money that they have and given the need. It's going to be hard for me to really make a strong case against any of these guys, because the Texans were in a situation last year where they had one serviceable running back at the end of the year that they trusted in key situations. And that guy was brought in, and that guy's ideal role is as more of a complementary back. So as far as like pounding the table, as this series goes on and as we approach free agency, which is less than 4 weeks away, it's going to be hard for me to just pound the table and say no to any of these backs that we're going to talk about.
I've got theoretical evidence against Derrick Henry. I can't for sure say that this is a for sure reason why you shouldn't sign him. My theoretical evidence is he is due to break down. Nobody has been as durable as Derrick Henry this far through their career, and only legends stay at this level. Now, Derrick Henry very well could end up being a legendary guy when it comes to durability, but when he goes down, man, it feels like he fights through stuff and maybe isn't as effective. We saw that a little bit with Tennessee this past year. And if he goes down and you've made a substantial investment in him to be the lead back or one of your 2 important running backs, that's a pretty tough part to be. So durability concerns, even though he hasn't shown durability, it's just the wear and tear of the position, and the NFL worries me. And the age to that factor, not many guys have 1,000-yard rushing season after they turn 30 years old. Adrian Peterson had 2, and he played forever. LaDainian Tomlinson, 0. Edgerrin James, 0. Steven Jackson, 0. LaShawn McCoy was basically done at 30. Marshawn Lynch took a year off at the age of 30 and didn't have a 1,000-yard rushing season after that. And look, Henry's not in here to be the running back for the next half decade or anything, but you do want him to be productive when he gets in here. And what does Derrick Henry want? Does he want to be the feature lead back? Does he want to be the guy that leads the NFL in carries? I don't know that that's exactly how you would want to operate with Derrick Henry in the building, or how you want to operate the Texans offense as well. Yeah, Derrick Henry would be nice, but as a compliment to putting the ball in CJ Stroud's hand, I don't want Derrick Henry showing up thinking he's getting the ball, 300 and something times this upcoming season and being a feature back and being the NFL carries leader again.
Yeah, and for me, it also, when you're talking about the running back position and just the free agents, I truly do believe that I don't know what the Texans are going to be next year, but when it comes to signing guys, it does kind of feel like they're going to be shopping at the top. Like the teams that you're going to think about for Derrick Henry are the contending teams. I don't think he's going to want to go play for a bad football team. So I do think the Texans, like from a standpoint of if the Texans want Derrick Henry, I think there's a chance that Derrick Henry would be very intrigued to come join this situation and play for this squad. I don't think that was the case last year. I don't think that's been the case for a long time. So that's really just another element of this whole thing. So let's get a verdict. We're going to do this at the end of each one. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Do you think the Texans should sign Derrick Henry?
Right now, with the other options, the concerns that I have, and not knowing exactly what Derrick Henry wants, as good as he's been and as special as and unique as he seems, I'm going to go thumbs down, decline on Derrick Henry.
I'm going to go thumbs down, but if they want Derrick Henry and if Bobby Slowick feels this is the right fit, I have a strong trust for this coaching staff. I just think that with all these other running backs we're going to talk about, I think they're going to find themselves in an awesome situation where they're better options than Derrick Henry. Although, again, if they sign Derrick Henry, I'm not going to be mad. So it's a no, but it's not a strong no when it comes to Derrick Henry.
This is one of those guys that after a few guys come off the board, if he's still there, it's very easy to flip from decline to sign on Derrick Henry. But for now,
last year, the market sometimes speaks to you and you end up getting a bargain. And that was one of your most valuable. They didn't go into the offseason saying we got to sign Dalton Schultz. The market played out. Dalton Schultz was out there. They got him in a bargain. So sometimes it just happens like that, and that's how it goes down. We're going to get this going every day. Be on the lookout for this on Cody's channel, the Cody Stoots channel. Be sure to subscribe to Houston Football. He's still putting out content daily. There's no time to rest. We say off season. There never is an off season when it comes to us two covering this squad. So be sure to subscribe to the Locker Room, subscribe to Cody's channel, and we'll keep this going. The verdict, no on Derrick Henry, but it's not a hard no. It's just a no. Talk to y'all later. Enjoy the off season. We're less than 4 weeks away. Tomorrow, another player coming your way.